One of my favourite episodes of The Simpsons is Lisa's Rival. In it, Allison, a new girl in Lisa's class, starts to outshine her as both a student and a saxophone player, and Lisa starts to feel threatened by her. What makes the interactions of Allison and Lisa work so well is how Allison is portrayed and how the other students and Lisa view her. Allison, instead of being vilified as a character, actually wants to befriend Lisa. This in turn causes the rest of the students to view Allison as just another student, one that is rather smart and intelligent. None of the students are ragging to Lisa about any superiority of Allison, it's something Lisa is creating on her own. Why am I referencing a Simpsons episode? Simply put, we see the same story arc played out in Pinkie Pride, and it works just as well. Seriously, after such a complete dud of a comedic episode last week, it was such an immense relief to see joke after joke just hit the mark perfectly. Amy Keaton-Rogers is just the master of comedic writing. But oddly enough, this episode actually starts out on a bit of a sour note for me with the return of the Pinkie sense, or something similar to it anyway. I still don't get how it works or how you could know what it means. The opening had something of a morning in Ponyville vibe to it, with the way it just starts up the moment we enter Ponyville, though the more obvious comparison is to Smile 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 with the whole town following her lead and the very upbeat tone to it. I like the way Diamond Tiara doesn't even break off from her singing when she sees that Silver Spoon has taken her milkshake. There was also a good bit of attention to detail during the song, with things like the paint turning brown when the shopkeeper basically puts every colour into Pinkie's bag, since that is what happens when you mix every colour together. It's not quite up to the catchy tune of Smile Smile Smile, but in terms of feel-good factor, it's right up there. When Cheese was first introduced with that dark voice and him talking about how good he was at starting parties, I thought he was going to be vilified, and I was wondering, how can you vilify a character that is all about spreading fun and happiness? Well, thankfully they were just teasing us, as Cheese is just as good a character as Pinkie, and he has no intention of outshining Pinkie, it just sort of happens. Though it does bug me why his cheesy sense sensed Pinkie, and yet Pinkie's Pinkie sense didn't sense Cheese. Oh, whatever, I gave up on trying to understand the Pinkie sense a long time ago. Super Duper Party Pony is where Weird Al Yankovic really gets to shine. It has just the right kind of random lyrics and some pretty creative visuals. It also works to further the plot by inadvertently causing Pinkie to feel like she has failed because suddenly there is another pony out there that is superior to her. It is exactly the kind of style of song that Weird Al generally sings. I love the way Pinkie gradually sounds less and less enthusiastic about Cheese as the song goes along. I also thought it was cute the way she wipes her face with her tongue. And did any pony else think she was going to go Pinkamena here? So the basic setup here is that Cheese shares Pinkie's passion for spreading fun and making others feel good, so logically they should get along really well. But the sad reality is that people that share similar passions can become rivals because they feel an obligation to prove that they are better at it. This kind of setup in kids shows is very common, but normally they feature two characters bickering and insulting each other like children about who is better, and as a result they forget about the original goal, only to realise at the end that they are better off working together. Thankfully, this episode does not go down that path. The demeaning of Pinkie's talent is purely internal. Pinkie has always been identified as the pony that throws parties and the pony that is best at doing this. But now that there is a chance that that may no longer be the case, she starts to wonder if there is any point her doing it at all. I've always found it a fascinating idea that people can be their own worst critics. Why would Pinkie feel so down about herself because there is one other pony out there that might be better at throwing parties? Well, I think it may be to do with the fact that Pinkie's wondering if she's not really been the best at throwing parties, she's just been the only pony that throws parties until now. Now that there is another pony that does this, and not only that but also appears to be better at it, she starts to question if she's really as good at throwing parties as she thought. Rainbow Dash knows how good a flyer she is because she grew up in Cloudsdale where every pony flew. Twilight knows how good she is at magic because Celestia specifically chose her as her student. I think this might be the first time that Pinkie's ever met another pony that she could actually compare herself to. Pinkie's Lament was awesome, as is the first sad Pinkie song the show has had. I love the idea of Pinkie trying to do other jobs in her own Pinkie-like way. And again, it works to further the plot, with Pinkie becoming more upbeat about her ability as a party pony, and the transition into this more upbeat part of the song was seamless. There are some great shots during the scene where Pinkie challenges Cheese. I like the stare down between the two of them with the light coming from above, and I love the way that they all acted shocked at the rather obvious idea that the loser doesn't get to do what the winner does. I can see this expression becoming a series of macros. And also, wait, why is Applejack standing over Fluttershy like that? I'm not sure Twilight really needed to explain the Goof Off, it seemed fairly self-explanatory. But the Goof Off itself was frickin' hilarious. I loved pretty much everything about it. The visuals, the transitions from one piece into the next, the way no piece went on for too long, Cheese singing Smile Smile Smile, and the way it gets bigger and more epic as it goes on. The realization Pinkie has when she observes that Rainbow isn't enjoying herself tops off a great sequence. She didn't let it get out of hand and become a personal issue between her and Cheese, where the original goal of pleasing Rainbow was forgotten. This moment and the way she decides for herself to go and challenge Cheese are both great moments of maturity from Pinkie that have otherwise been severely lacking this season. It was a nice turn in having Cheese's song be a more melancholy reprise of Super Duper Party Pony. I guess you could nitpick and ask why he didn't tell Pinkie this earlier, but then again, what incentive was there for him to do this before? He came to Ponyville to show how great a party pony he was, not remind them of who Pinkie was or tell Pinkie he idolised her. It's only once he sees that his partying has caused Pinkie to believe she has to leave Ponyville that he actually feels bad about not acknowledging her before. Perhaps he also wasn't very proud of his past and didn't want them to know that he was shy. Both characters learn the lesson here that having the same talent and passion should be something that brings you together in order to enhance your talent even further, not drive you apart and cause you to become rivals. It was a relief to me that Rainbow doesn't dismiss Cheese's ability as a party pony, but instead points out that as well as being a great party pony, Pinkie is also their friend, and that's far more important. Make-A-Wish reminded me a lot of Love Is in Bloom from A Canterlot Wedding. In fact, I actually thought we were going to see Vinyl again. I think that's also why it sounds a bit like a season finale type song to me. Not that that's really a bad thing. As I predicted on Tumblr, we get to see Pinkie's key item here. So far we have a rainbow coloured thread, a medal and a rubber chicken. I'm not really seeing any pattern here, but I am seeing a pattern in the ponies that are giving these items. So far all three of them have been characters that were inspired in some way by members of the main six to change something about themselves. So I'm wondering if the ponies giving these items may end up being more important than the items themselves. Overall, it has been a long time since I have smiled this much while watching an episode of MLP. This season now has the complete set of types of awesome episodes that really make me love this show. The emotional rollercoaster of flight to the finish, the thought-provoking ideas of Pinkie Apple Pie, and the flat-out enjoyment of Pinkie Pride. Amy Keaton-Rogers just knows how to write comedy and how to write Pinkie. I think this just about beats out the Dog and Pony Show as her second best outing to date, after Full Weather Friends, which I'd still say is just a tiny bit better. The songs are all up there as some of the show's best, and it's clear that they didn't just want Weird Al on this show purely for the novelty of having him in it. Cheese's songs have exactly the same kind of strange style as Weird Al's songs. I'm trying to think if there's anything about this episode that I didn't like, and I can't really think of anything. The randomness, the humour, the realism of Pinkie's personal issues, the way that the songs enhance the plot, and the use of Weird Al. I love it all. I think Flight to the Finish is still my favourite episode this season, but Pinkie Pride is a very close second. He came to Bonneville. Pinkie Pride, Pinkie Pie, Cutie Pie, Cutie Pie? Oh god, no, worst episode ever. Sounds like, I just realised it. The realisation Pinkie has when she observes Pinko... What? Oh, shut up, you stupid phone.